2 games to go in the Anand Gelfand World Championship match, and scores still level, and we appear to be drifting inexorably towards the rapid play tie breaks, particularly as both players seem to be so cautious in their play. So who would be the favourite if we went down to the rapid play? Remember, in those rapid play there are 4 games that are played. Both players get 25 minutes on their clock, and they have a 10-second time increment per move. So who would be the favourite? Well, on paper it would have to be Anand. Looking at their score, Anand in rapid play games, Anand has 9 wins, Gelfand has just 1 win, and they've made 17 draws. So that is a huge plus score for Anand. And I want to show you one of their previous rapid play games, and this was an extraordinary game that I think showed Anand at his brilliant best. This is from the Amber tournament. In fact, not only was this a rapid play game, but it was also blindfold, and it is quite extraordinary. Okay, let me talk you through the position. Gelfand here has the white pieces. He played f4. Now this looks like a reasonable move to push the bishop back and then start to advance these pawns through the middle. Okay, classic strategy. Anand played rook a2, okay, a nice active move. And Gelfand played the queen back to d1. He could maybe have kept things a bit calmer with queen b3 to exchange queens. Now here one would anticipate the bishop simply moving back, but then the problem is this knight comes over, attacking the rook, so the rook has to retreat, and now white has the initiative. You can see those pawns pushing forward, opening up the diagonal of the bishop, and this is very pleasant for white. So Anand made an extraordinary decision here. He played his bishop not backwards, but he played bishop a1. I mean, this looks ludicrous. Can he get away with playing the bishop into the corner? Well, it appears he can. The whole point being that the bishop still defends the c3 square, so it's not possible to play the knight in, and that means you can maintain the rook on this active square. Gelfand, unsurprisingly, played e5, attacking the knight, and also perhaps locking the bishop in the corner, so there could be chances to win the bishop. Anand had prepared an extraordinary riposte. He played the pawn to c5. Now this is Anand at his absolute sparkling best. The point, of course, is to open up the long diagonal. Now, a fantastic piece of calculation. Gelfand took the knight, and now the bishop came back from the dead. Bishop d4 check. That can't be taken because the rook takes here, and then there'll be a decisive discover check probably. That one looks like it wins, so let's just go back. So not knight takes bishop, but instead rook f2 was played. Now Anand took another move. Instead of rook f2, excuse me, if the king goes in the corner, then queen h3 is an absolute killer. There's the pin there, and you're threatening queen g2 mate. And if rook g1, you can just take this, and we take the bishop there, and too much material, and g2 is going to cave in shortly. So that's why Gelfand had to put the rook in the way with rook f2. So Anand took, and now there's still trouble on this long diagonal, this very familiar battery of pieces, the bishop and the queen, attacking g2, and the queen can't defend because this queen will take the bishop on d3. Now, perhaps Gelfand could have prolonged things by taking and then exchanging queens in the middle. Let me just clear some colour off. Yep. Exchanging queens here, but even so black should be winning. Instead Gelfand played bishop b2, allowing this, but now white's king gets caught in the middle. This is absolutely horrible. We may as well just go to the end of the game very quickly. the pressure is too much on e2. Now f6. These are just desperado moves from Gelfand. Black is going to take here. Well, let's not forget rook takes knight as well, so he resigned this position. Remember, this was not only a rapid play game, this was also a blindfold game. Now this is quite extraordinary. Anand has such a reputation as a speed player. So, is he the overwhelming favourite? Well, perhaps not, because as we've seen so far in this match, he hasn't got that usual sparkle. And Gelfand proved last summer in qualifying for this match that he has really strong nerves. In the semi-final against Kamsky in the qualification tournament last summer, he defeated Kamsky, a very tough player, in the rapid play tiebreak to get through to the final. Now let me just show you one of those games. Frankly, the wins he had were they weren't terribly interesting, but what I'd like to do is show you a draw that he had against Kamsky. But it shows you that, you know, he can pull it out the bag sometimes. Here Gelfand had the white pieces. Now he's under pressure. Kamsky's pass pawn here is potentially very dangerous, and you can see white's major pieces are really bottled up. You know, if you try to trade queens here, then the pass pawn will really come into its own. Kamsky played g5. Now, I think that's a good move because you're squeezing on both sides of the board. You know, if you can open up the king while white's pieces are bottled up over here, then that could be fatal. So that would exploit the better positioning of black's queen and rook. Gelfand spotted a very, very nice defence. He took the knight, and now if pawn takes, then that allows a very nice counter-attack. If king up, then h5 just drags the king up the board, and well, soon it's actually going to be checkmate. f3 is threatened. There are other threats as well. So pawn takes, not very good. So Kamsky played rook takes. And now if you exchange rooks, then the queen is still in a poor position and the pawn is looking very healthy indeed. But that was never Gelfand's intention. After rook takes, he played queen takes a4, giving up the rook. Now the point is, he gets through to black's king. But even this looks a bit odd, because if you keep checking, in this case the king can escape up the board, and the king is actually pretty safe. If necessary, it can march in here or maybe through here. But Gelfand had spotted a very nice move. g4, that's a brilliant move. So the threat is h5 check, checkmate actually. So black has to play g takes h4, and now because this pawn covers h5, white is fine, and they actually agree to draw here. So let's see what would happen. Well, white gives a check, and now the king can't march up because that is checkmate. And if the king comes back, then it's simply a draw by perpetual check, and so on. The king doesn't escape, but it's just a draw. Okay, I thought this was a very, very alert defence from Gelfand. You know, it's easy to calculate lots of checks, but to see a quiet move like g4, I thought that was very impressive. That's a rapid play game, remember. So, Gelfand proved last summer that he's a very good rapid player as well. So I don't think he'll be terrified of going into the tiebreak. You know, 2 years ago, Topalov in the final game was desperate to try to beat Anand and get it over in the 90 minutes. And he ended up pressing in that last game in their championship and overpressed and lost. But I don't think Gelfand will be doing that. I think he feels that given Anand's lack of form in this match so far, that he will have even chances, even against as brilliant a rapid player as Anand. So I think we're going to see more safety first play in these final 2 games, and I think we're heading for a very tense tie break in the rapid play.